Crouli had found what he had been searching for, a master in occult wisdom.
Within days of moving in, Crouli and I were performing and experimenting with magic ceremonies, calling upon demons and consecrating various talismans. Our experimentation into the occult went far beyond Crowley's formal Golden Dawn grades, incorporating the use of mind-altering drugs, opium, cocaine and hashish.
Gerald Kelly came to visit, which led to an opportune meeting for Crouli with Kelly's sister Rose. Rose was fascinated by Crouli, and he by her. Within a few days of meeting, Crouli had enticed Rose to marry him, and much to the anger of her brother, the marriage was performed in a civil ceremony in the town of Dingwall the very next morning. They took an apartment near to the Bulak Museum, where Crouli once more built his temple with the room facing north. By this time, Rose was heavily involved in all of Crowley's magic ceremonies. He called her Quada the Seeress, Quada being the Arabic for rose. They engrossed themselves in the workings of the Abra Melon. Through one of the ceremonies, Crouli claimed to have received a message whilst invoking the falcon-headed Egyptian god Horus.
Therefore I say unto thee, come thou forth and dwell in me, so that every spirit, whether of the firmament or the ether, or of the earth, on dry land or in the water, or whirling air or of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God the Vast One, may be thou, Abrahadabra. The greatest moment in my life was revealing itself. The operation was a success. The voice of Aiwas, one of the secret chiefs and my guardian angel, through Quada, was instructing me that a new dawn was coming for mankind and that I was the one chosen to initiate it. I was told by Quada to go into my temple on the 8th of April at 12 noon and to write down everything I heard. I followed my instruction.
Locked in his temple, Crouli wrote solidly for 1 hour. The same procedure was followed the next day, and again on the 3rd, until finally the message from Aiwas was complete. What he had written down would later become one of Crowley's most infamous works, known as the Book of the Law, the doctrine in which the new order would follow, and Crouli himself would be the chief of that new order. The Beast 666 and his Scarlet Woman Rose. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, was probably the most famous line from this book. But there are also within the work prophecies and revelations which would leave even the most skeptic of minds wondering. And my number is 9 by the fools. My number is 11, as all their numbers who are of us. Hail, ye twin warriors about the pillars of the world, for your time is nigh at hand. For I have crushed an universe, and naught remains. Whoever disregards this does so at his own risk and peril. These are most dire.
Well, I was aware at the time that there existed a certain amount of prophecy in the words of Aiwas. After all, a new eon was coming. Horus epitomized force and fire. Undoubtedly, his new eon would manifest itself in a baptism of flames. The opening act of his reign would be to plunge the world into a catastrophic, bloody, and violent war. But I have to say, I didn't realize the significance of the book until some years later.
In my mind, Aleister Crowley was a master. I'd read some of his works before I met him, and I was absolutely fascinated by the man. One thing I must ask. Let this book be assiduously circulated among the young. Let me seduce the boys of England, and the Ulsters may totter unconverted to their graves. Then these boys, becoming men, may bring about the new heaven and the new earth. You are not a Crowleyan till you can say, "Yes, thank you, God, I am an atheist." For the transvaluation of all values must yet again take place, when those are all dead and damned who have forced us into the painful position we now occupy. Young men, there is the enemy. I am no coward. I hope and believe that I may make a fairly good general, at least no traitor. But without an army I am useless. A Napoleon at St. Helena.